All right, everyone, welcome back to The Sweet Science, presented by BoxingAsylum.com, the internet's fastest growing community of boxing fans. I am your host, co-host, whatever, Brandon, and this is my brother Kirby. Why you look all serious?
Serious news today. Got a lot of news.
This is news and headlines. We're going to be dropping news and headlines every Monday, so be sure to subscribe so you can be privy to all the news. But what's our top story for the week?
The big one for this week is Andre Ward-Kelly Pavlik fight is off. Andre Ward was injured while training. He has a shoulder injury, and he's going to have some pretty serious surgery coming up. And the fight was due in January, postponed to February. Now it is completely off. What happens now?
Well, Kelly Pavlik should be thanking his lucky stars because he dodged a fucking bullet here. He should be thankful to whatever God he prays to because his career was basically over after this
It
fight.
pretty much was,
Yeah.
and I don't think anybody misses this fight. I don't think anybody is thinking, oh man, I really wish this fight would have happened. There's a lot more interesting fights for Pavlik, maybe bout, maybe even Roach or something that kind of build him up. Because even if you're with Robert Garcia,
I think I pretty much agree. Pavlik dodged a bullet. I don't think he's ready for the elite guys yet. I think he needs one or two more, at least two more fights with some tough guys before he steps up in his class. I think these guys pretty much just move on from each other at this point. We saw Andre Ward fight one time in 2012. He'll probably only do it one time again in 2013 with this injury. He'll probably fight the winner of Roach Kessler. So I think it's time for everybody to move on. Also, we got Nazeem Richardson talking some bullshit this week.
yes, he is. Some
Nazeem-
bullshit.
Nazeem Richardson has said that basically Shane Mosley is not done, and the reason why we've seen Shane Mosley look so bad is because he's a product of the guys who he has been facing. So he's saying Mayweather and Pacquiao, and who was his last fight? Canelo. He's just basically saying that the reason why Shane was hesitant and afraid to throw because these guys had power and they could hurt Shane. But given the right opponent, like a Paulie Malignaggi, Shane's going to be able to basically walk in and do what he wants to Malignaggi and defeat him. So Nazeem, even though he's not in Shane's corner anymore, I guess he's in the corner, but he's not the trainer. He's saying Shane's not done and Shane can beat Paulie Malignaggi.
It's kind of funny that he says Canelo, Pacquiao, and Mayweather, but he completely forgets Sergio Mora. Okay, he wasn't as hesitant in the Sergio Mora fight, but nonetheless, it was a draw in which some people think Sergio Mora won. Okay, now of course, coincidentally, they want to take this fight with Paulie Malignaggi, who has no power and can't knock down Shane Mosley, which is kind of it's convenient because that's how Paulie Malignaggi has pretty much made his name and got all of his wins, is by people thinking that he can't either hurt him or that they're just going to completely walk through Paulie Malignaggi. So this is a title shot. Belts in boxing don't mean anything, but definitely a person that hasn't won a fight in 4 years doesn't deserve a title shot for sure.
Yeah.
So
4 years.
4 years.
Who was
It's
that?
pretty bad.
Margarito?
That was Margarito.
Damn.
That was post-wrapped Margarito.
Wait, what month was that fight?
That was January 2009.
My daughter wasn't born yet. Man, Shane Mosley hasn't had a win during my daughter's entire life. Moving on.
Speaking of, one of the guys who beat Shane Mosley in his last bout, Canelo Alvarez, he's more interested in Austin Trout than he is Miguel Cotto for May 4th, which is also the scheduled date for possibly Mayweather Robert Guerrero. What are your thoughts on Trout instead of Cotto?
Well, I think I give credit to Canelo for he could take the bigger money, the fight that's going to draw more fans, or he can take a fight against a legit contender. He's not a contender, he's a champion, and he beat Miguel Cotto and it wasn't even close. So you got to give Canelo credit for wanting to fight Trout instead of, go for the money and fight Cotto, possibly retire Cotto is what he would actually do. As far as him basically abandoned, we all know that pretty much Mayweather Guerrero is going to happen May 4th.
At this point, yes.
We talked a lot of shit We booked our tickets last night. We're going.
We're going. Okay. We'll see you there.
You know you're going to order it. No one really wants to see it, but you know what? It's going down. So let's embrace it. I think Canelo's embracing it, and he's going to step up and possibly fight on the undercard with Trout, and it should be a good fight.
You know, and I think also that really kind of sells me on it. If it was just Mayweather Guerrero, I might have stayed. Well, no, I still would have won. But if it was just Mayweather Guerrero, it's not as enticing as if you have Canelo on the card fighting Austin Trout, even if it was Miguel Cotto. But Canelo being on that card, knowing that both Mayweather and Canelo want to fight September 14th, it's kind of like when HBO, you know, has a co-main and a main event, and then later on down the line, you know, on Boxing After Dark, and then they'll do an actual HBO show with the two winners of the fights, you know. Yeah.
So it's like a mini little
kind of title, kind of a title eliminator kind of situation.
A cross weight division tournament.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting because the perception about Canelo is that he doesn't really fight anybody worth fighting, but he's really looking for that fight. Yeah. You know, he has tried to fight Paul Williams and James Kirkland and Victor Ortiz. Now he tried to fight Miguel Cotto, and now he's fighting a natural big 154-pounder. So this would be a really interesting matchup, I think. I'm all for it. I'm more sold on it than seeing a really light 154 post-prime Miguel Cotto, in my opinion. Yeah. On to the next subject.
Moving on, Julio Cesar Chavez is looking to abandon the sinking Titanic ship that is owned by Freddie Roach's wild card gym in his camp. Julio Cesar Chavez sees the writing on the wall. If you're training with Freddie Roach, you're not winning anymore. So Chavez is looking to maybe jump ship to either a Robert Garcia or Nacho Beristain, however you say his name. Two very good trainers. I think that'll benefit him. Who do you think is the better trainer for Junior?
For Junior, that's really hard. I think it might benefit. I think it might benefit more with Robert Garcia just because of the stable of fighters. What the wildcard gym usually does is individually train its fighters. Trains just singly American. Trains just singly, you know, Chavez Jr. just singly trains Manny Pacquiao. But the Robert Garcia gym, they all train together. You know, when Margarita was there, Brandon Rios, Leo Santa Cruz,
training all together.
Yes, all together as a stable. They're all one. I think that might do best for him. Plus his style, stylistically, he comes in and he's going to throw. He has the power. I think Nacho might try to make him more into a boxer when everybody pretty much in Robert Garcia's camp fights just like he does. So that might do him pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. I think Robert Garcia is the better trainer for him. Beristain will try to change up Chavez's game too much, and it'll just confuse, I think, Chavez as a fighter. He needs to go to Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia will embrace his style more. You know, we've seen what he's done with the guy like Brandon Rios' game. He got Margarito when Margarito was done, but he didn't try to change Margarito. So I think Robert Garcia is probably the better choice there.
Absolutely. Moving on, the ship has sunk. What else is there to say about that? Moving on, Sergio Martinez is considering retirement after about 3 more fights or so. So give or take a year or two. It's been a good run for the guy. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know why you want to retire when you're starting to make money, but I can't explain it. I don't know. I think it's a dumb move, personally. I think he just made his biggest payday against Chavez Jr. You're a bankable star now. You're going to be fighting in. You're getting HBO to travel to Argentina for you. That's a big deal. HBO doesn't travel for just overseas for just anyone. I think the only guy they travel for is Klitschko when they air a Klitschko fight.
Yes.
So
they didn't even do it for Ricky Hatton.
Yeah, he's making money. 3 fights. All right. I mean, he's kind of old. So.
I mean, age is age nonetheless. But I guess that's kind of he kind of defies that law. Sergio Martinez. He's not showing any kind of age, any kind of weakness. Less speed, less power. He's not really showing any of that. He just got his biggest payday. He's closing in or trying to close in on a Mayweather fight. The next year, no, probably not. But in the next year or so, the Martin Murray fight's not going to get you a whole lot of money. The rematch with Chavez that's 2 fights right there. What is going to be your last? What's going to be your last fight?
Maybe he fights Chavez last.
Maybe. That was a $2 million fight there for him. What's he going to get this time? Maybe 4, if that.
Well, that does it for boxing news and headlines for the week. The Sweet Science. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out boxingasylum.com. And check us out next week. New episodes every Monday. Thanks for checking us out. Peace.